Hello.
Hello.
Hey guys.
Hello.
How is everybody?
Good. Crazy day.
Yes, I know. Crazy day. Crazy day. Okay.
Hello.
So we're just going to give it a minute or two to let some other people join. I will introduce myself. I'm Tina Reddick. I'm the assistant team leader at the office in New Berlin. I don't know if you guys want to introduce yourself, Dawn and Shelly.
Sure, I'm off of mute, so I'll introduce myself. All right, my name is Shelly, and I'm actually an executive assistant on Team CJ, which is out of the Germantown Keller Williams office. So I'm going to bring kind of a different perspective to just the industry.
And I'm Dawn Shipley. I'm a realtor at the New Berlin office.
And Amy.
I'm Amy Fuller, and I'm a real estate agent at the Milwaukee Southwest in New Berlin.
Awesome. I really appreciate you guys helping today with the career panel and able to give a different perspective to agents and what real estate looks like in today's market. So the first part of this is going to be a Q&A section where I'm going to ask the agents a series of questions, and you guys can just feel free to jump in and answer any question, answer them how you see. And so we'll do that for probably the first hour of it, and then after that we'll just discuss a little bit more in depth of what it takes to get into real estate, the steps needed to go through, and the process and what it looks like from a training perspective for Keller Williams. So let's just jump right in. All right, so I'm going to ask each one of our panelists to give us just a brief intro of, we covered who you are, and how long you've been in the business, and have you always been with Keller Williams or have you been somewhere else? So Amy, you want to go first?
Sure. So I've been with Keller Williams. It's the only brokerage I've been with, and I started about a year ago. I started last September in the launch camp. At that time, it was called the boot camp, but it's the launch camp now. And so, yeah, I've been here about 1 year.
Excellent. Shelly?
All right, so I have been in real estate for almost 4 years, but I joined my husband, who's been in almost 11, so 9.5 years. So I worked in retail, and I left my job so that I could help him, do his administrative work. And let's see here, we were at another brokerage. We were at Shore West for almost 7.5 years, somewhere around there. And then we came to Keller Williams, and the rest is history.
Awesome. Dawn?
So I'm Dawn Shipley. I've been in the business for about 5 years. I work with my husband now. He joined me. So I started first in the business, and then he joined me about 3 years ago. I started at Shore West. He joined me 3 years ago. We've been at Keller Williams for about 2.5 years. So about 6 months after he joined me in the business, we made our transition.
Okay. Awesome. Stephanie? So Stephanie Sosa is also joining us. So Stephanie?
Okay, just want to make sure I was not on mute before I started talking, and you see. Yes, I have been in real estate over 25 years, have been at 4 different companies, and I was just telling Tina earlier today, I have never been as excited or impressed about the company that I'm with. There are just so many tools and great features here that I have not seen anywhere else in the business. So I am excited to be a part of the KW family.
Yeah, because how long have you been here?
2 weeks.
But how long have you been in real estate?
Over 25 years.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. So, okay. And like I said, this is just panelist style, so you guys jump in wherever. But the first question is, what character traits do you think are absolutely necessary to build a successful real estate career in today's market?
Oh gosh, I probably can't even say it. Hi Tina, my name is Ann Pierre. I don't know if you see me here, guys.
Oh yeah.
I'm just car right now, but I wanted to join in for this. But I've just recently enlisted with Keller Williams. I haven't been with any other realty before this, but my uncle recommended joining Keller Williams. He's actually a broker in Illinois, so he had raving reviews for you guys, and so far I have nothing but thumbs on my end. So I'm glad to be here, and I'm excited to see where my career takes me.
Oh, we're so excited that you're here as well. We're really excited. Awesome. Well, as we're going through, if you have anything to add too, feel free, jump in. Okay, we're going to go back to our panelists. So, guys, like agents who are currently in real estate right now, tell me what you think are the traits that are absolutely necessary to build a successful career in today's market.
So Zach and I talked about this. I was asking him like, so what, time building, people skill, time blocking, being organized, but it's like really the one trait that we decided it really came down to was persistence. Can kind of make up for anything else that you're not awesome at. If it's something that you feel like you really need to work towards and you don't give up and you have a goal and you keep working towards it, you can really, I think that's the one thing that's absolutely necessary. Other helpful things might be the ability to time manage, having good people skills, creativity and marketing ability, strong work ethic. But I think persistence can really make up for anywhere that you're not super strong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna just piggyback on that. Like, I was thinking grit, like, was my word, and like grit is like, kind of the same thing. Persistence, being able to just keep like going at it, like you keep getting pushed down, and then it's like, nope, I'm still here, and I'm gonna come at it another way. So I think that I'm totally persistent. I mean, you'd think it'd be people skills, but it's not always. Maybe the ability to read people. But
yeah, well, I mean, I think the statistics say, right, that the conversion on a lead happens in the 8th to the 12th contact. So it definitely takes some persistence and grit for you to get to that 8th to 12th contact. Amy or Stephanie, do you have anything to add?
I would just say, I think, being social, being good at networking, just being a real people person, where you can kind of read people and know when you can maybe apply a little more pressure, when you need to, kind of let them have a little space. But just, understanding people and just, loving what you do, loving connecting and loving helping people make a really big decision in life, and just kind of being a hand to hold. So I think just the social aspect and kind of connecting with people is really the biggest piece for me.
Sure. Yeah.
The only thing I would add to that too, Tina, is, completely agree with all the agents so far and what they've said. And I think the only other thing that I would say is someone who's a problem solver, someone who's willing to provide solutions and moving forward, not focusing on, the problem at hand, just moving forward. How do you get past it? How do you move forward and keep the transition going?
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what is one thing that you wish you knew back when you started your real estate career? So what's the one thing you felt like you were missing?
for me, go ahead, Steph.
Oh, I was just going to say, when I started, I was at a smaller real estate firm that was a family-run company, and really like building your database was not a necessity for them because it was a set of cousins, and then the fathers had a real estate industry, and so it was just kind of their name was known in the marketplace, and so I feel like creating a database, knowing how to keep in touch with clients, after the closing, you're not done with them. You're not done with that relationship because you want for them to stay in your life. You want them to refer you, and you want to get repeat, and referral business from them and family and friends. So I think just the database and trying to hone in on that is really critical.
Okay.
For sure. I was going to think a little bit more operationally since that's kind of what I do. But there's no need to reinvent the wheel because I feel like my first 2 years, like I was like doing everything by scratch. Like, okay, this is my system. This is what I'm going to do. And like now, and then I came to Keller Williams and like they just handed me some systems and I was like, whoa, this makes my last 2 years look like, what was I doing? Like it was so, because I had to come up with it and that's not my strength, really. So just you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's, not everything has to be perfect because done is better than perfect. And sometimes you just have to focus on what's the most important thing to do. Well, it's probably going to be talking to your database, like Steph brought up, not spending time making all these complex systems that don't even maybe help you.
Right.
And I would third those things for both what Stephanie and Shelley were saying. Something else I was thinking as I was looking back was really like you usually when you start a new job, you think of it as a new job. But when you're starting a career in real estate, it's really a different mindset that you're opening your own small business. And that's not something that I realized until about 2.5 years ago, that this is my small business. This isn't a job. I'm going, not just going to work every day and earning commission. This is my business, and having a budget, goal setting, treating it truly like a small business.
That's actually genius because I feel like when you have these big commission checks coming in, when you're like starting to get rolling, it's like, if you're not thinking about it like a business, you're like, oh, I'm going to spend all that, but
I got paid.
Yeah, I got paid. And the money. Like, oh, no, you need to save some of that. Anyway. Oh, and I see a comment. Could I expand on something? Okay. Can I just answer that question real quick on the chat? So someone, Nada asked, could I expand on what systems KW had in place that I thought were helpful or innovative? So honestly, some of the things, so 2 things. First one is customer management tool. So we used Command, which is a free CRM. So we were paying to use something, and honestly, we weren't even using it that effectively, but now I get it for free and it kind of intertwines with our marketing. It intertwines with, oh my gosh, like everything, compliance when we turn in documents. And then the other big thing is a simple transaction management tracker tool. So you can actually use that with Command too, but I use it in a Sheets from Google Sheets. And like, it literally helps me scale, transactions. So just completely blowing away what I had created myself, and I just adapted it. So.
And then Shelley, you guys hired as well, and you used the Keller Williams career visioning to hire, correct?
Yeah, because we needed leverage. That's one of the reasons why we actually came to Keller Williams, was just because we didn't know how to build a team. And so as my husband and I, and honestly, like it can be hard to do everything, do all the things, and then still find time for your family. So we were like, we want to keep growing because we're at a point where we're not growing anymore. We either need to add more people or have better systems, which we did both. And then we were able to do more with less time. So the career visioning that Dawn brought up is just a proven system for hiring. So I don't know, has anyone ever been in like jobs that have systemized hiring, like things you have to do, like you have to take an assessment, then you have an interview, then you all have all this? Anybody familiar? Right? So this like pumps it up like 3 levels. It's like there's like 4 interviews, like you're talking about the person's personality. It's not just like, these are the questions, I will check them all off. It's more about, is this person going to be happy in the job? And do they have the right skill sets now? And do they have the right personality for it? So we found it to be so helpful, and now we've got a team, and the first couple times we use the systems, like I was just trying to check things off, but now I'm like, okay, I understand what it's for, and it's given us so much more the right fit. So
to expand on systems, so first of all, let's welcome Jeff Nevin. He just joined us. Jeff, can you raise your hand? That's Jeff. He's also a realtor with us. Busy realtor, so he's running a little bit late. But we'll get to you, Jeff. So I want to just kind of talk to both Amy and Steph for a second. So Amy, you're newer. So what was a system that you put in place at the beginning of your real estate career with us?
Command, which Shelly was talking about. When I started boot camp, we learned from the Command system. And so everything I've done is all done through Command, which is huge, I think, as a real estate agent, because like Shelly was talking about, it's like we do marketing in there. It's your CRM system. It's your database. It's your opportunities and moving a client through a system, and when to follow up, and different things like that just really kind of keep the business going. And for me, it's like, it's been huge. And it's with Keller Williams, I mean, their innovation, the system for me was really easy to learn and to use it, and which I think is huge because it does so much. The tools, the bells and whistles are just phenomenal, and to make it easy to use as well is pretty hard to do. So it's a pretty top of the line system.
Awesome. Okay, now Steph,
Yeah.
you just moved over
Mhm.
from another brokerage.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you're
So
used-
absolutely phenomenal program Command Center is. Like we said, I've been here for 2 weeks, and I will tell you, I am not a hugely techie person. I usually have someone help with some of my technological things, but what I've personally been able to do just in like the last 5 days, I imported all of my contacts. I was at another international, company. So I took them from the other database system or CRM and imported them in. I've set them all up on a house anniversary date. I've set them up on birthday plans. I created my own app. So someone can search for homes on my app, which, I send to them. I can promote the app. I created a postcard. And so I'm going to be doing a postcard. We have a phenomenal design center. And I do not do graphic design. I don't know how to use Canva. I don't do any of that stuff. But I will tell you, I created my own postcard. I created my own business card, and everything is ready for printing. I cannot say enough about what this program does. I have contacts built in there, and you can drag and drop your contacts through the process. And in each stage of the process, this is something that would be so great for someone who's new, to have checklists and what do I do next? So we have an accepted offer. What do I need to tell them? And basically setting this up so that it is, I'm trying to think of the right word, like, you can replicate it. I don't know if you say replicatable, but that just sounded too big of a word for me. But to take something and just do it each time so that you give the client the same exact experience as the next client. There's times in this business when we're slow, and if you're working with 2 or 3 clients, you're going to provide awesome customer service. But if you have 15 clients at once, say in April, can you still provide that same level of customer service to those clients? And with this command system, I feel it is going to outperform anything I've ever seen in my life before. But I feel like it's almost a personal assistant in the computer. And if I can create all of those pieces and do graphic design stuff, you're just clicking and adding things. If I can do that, anyone can do it.
I think we're really talking a lot about command because we've really only been, I think we've had it for maybe about a year now. And it was built by Keller Williams. It's constantly being changed by Keller Williams. It's constantly in like a lab format where they're making changes and adjustments to it based off of realtors' feedback. So it's real life. So if realtors are using it and they see an improvement that they think could be helpful, they can submit their ideas right to our KW Labs program. And if it seems like it will be something that will be useful to everybody, they will literally implement it. So it's constantly evolving and changing, which is great because that's how our businesses are moving too, right? We're constantly evolving and changing. So, okay. So moving on a little bit, can we talk about the habits of a successful realtor? And I kind of want to start with Jeff because I know Jeff is somebody who is a consistent caller. So let's talk about some habits of a successful realtor.
Question?
Yeah. What are some habits of a successful realtor, Jeff?
I think probably the biggest thing is to have a schedule planned out. So for example, my schedule is in the morning, we do some script practice. If you're not familiar with what that is, my team will get on a kind of like a Zoom call, but just on the phone, and we'll script what we're calling. So for example, I like to call expireds, and we go through basically a mock call just to practice. After that, we'll call for about 3 hours. Which can range from, expireds for sale by owners, Sphere, which is your past clients, stuff like that. After that, it's, lunch, and then working out. And then later on in the day, we're working on admin stuff and going on appointments. So I think being consistent in that. And we do, between 1 and 2, we do what we call a power hour. So that's calling all of our follow-up calls. So by having something that's very repetitive each day, it sets us up to build that pipeline. Because, let's be honest, if we're not trying to capture leads, we're not going to be doing business. So that's really, I think, what sets our team up for success each day.
Okay. Anybody else? Habits of successful realtors. What are some of the habits that you guys have daily?
For us, it's focusing on our goals. We set an annual goal and then break that down into a monthly goal and then look at what are we doing each week. So what are the things that we need to focus on this week to move our goal forward? And so by revisiting those goals often and keeping focused on them, it means that we don't find ourselves slacking off on anything because it's like we have to keep moving forward to meet that goal.
Sure. Okay. Let's talk about where did your business come from? When you first started, I want to know what everybody's first deal was. Where did your business come from? Amy, we'll start with you.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I guess my first business was from an open house. So when I first started, I did a lot of shadowing, and I reached out to agents that had listings, and they allowed you to come out and do an open house for them. So that was where I think my first business came from, was from an open house. My husband and I were also a real estate team as well, and so we have a lot of connections. My husband's 25 years retired active duty military. So he just retired a couple years ago. And so we had a lot of connections with military families in the area. And so we also got a lot of business through our connection with the military.
Okay. And Jeff, where's your first deal come from?
First deal came from a friend.
Awesome.
Simple. For any new agents, it's your first thing that you should be doing is calling all of your friends and family and letting them know that you're in real estate. That's like one of the simplest things that you could do. And it turns out it could be your easiest deal too, right? Because it's somebody that you know and maybe care about, and they care about you, and they'll actually listen to your advice. So it could be an easy transaction.
And it's free to call them.
Yeah, it's free. That's right. Yeah. You already have like, what, 200 numbers in your phone, right? Plus, give them a call.
Yeah. Shelley?
So I don't actually, because I feel like CJ was in the business obviously a lot longer for me, but I think the first lead that I got and handed to him was someone that I used to work with in retail. So I just stayed in touch with people, and then,
So how did she know that you were in real estate?
I told her because I always make a point to go to all the kind of get-togethers of the old crew. So go out to eat, and oh, what are you doing? Oh, well, or how are you doing? Because she actually knew because I had left to go with my husband, so she already knew. But that's how I stay in front of them. Just every 6 months we get together.
Sure. Dawn?
First transaction was an open house. Somebody met an open house. But first year was a nice mix of open houses, networking with affiliated businesses, and my sphere, friends, family.
Okay. And Sosa?
I think it was from an open house, and I ended up selling them that property and then helped them list and sell their existing property. So that was a nice one. I've tried to, I had to think back since it's been a little bit. But yeah, I think really just your sphere of influence. Where are you? Are you in the PTA? Do you have, a gym that you go to, different clubs and things, church activities, are there different people in your life, wearing a name tag, wearing some cool, KW merchandise, some fun t-shirts and stuff. You're just putting yourself out there. You might end up, approaching someone, in a grocery store, because, you're wearing something. They could approach you and ask, hey, what's going on in the real estate market today? And you're like, hey, it is moving. Let me, get your number and I'll send you my personal home search app. And that's where, just kind of always talking about, I heard in a training once that people at a party, they're not going to want to hear what the undertaker is doing, but everyone wants to hear what is happening in the world of real estate. So you're really a big conversation starter. And if you know your markets, what's happening, in the industry at the time, you can talk knowledgeably about what's going on.
Yeah, you always have to be a student of real estate.
I was just going to say, if you go to a get-together, people are going to ask you about what's going on in the market. So just be prepared. It's just do a little homework so that you know what to say. Because otherwise, if you're like, it's good, they're just going to be like, okay.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about, where does your business come from now?
Sphere. People we know, people we've done business with, referrals from those people.
Primarily Sphere for us too.
I would say, it could take, 2 to 3 years to build up, your base of people until you get to that point. So there might be, because like Tina said earlier, we are running a business. And so we have to think that way, that we're not just working in a job, but we have a business. And so we want to spend some money on marketing our business. Get your cards out there, order 1,000 cards on Vistaprint and hand them out like they're, candy. Because the more people that you spread your name to, but once you get your business up and running, it will start to, refuel itself. And so I think in those first beginning years, if you can help out with other open houses and things, you can start to gain momentum that way.
I think that's right. Because I think we say sphere now, but I think for a lot of us, sphere also includes our past clients.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, okay. So let's talk about the importance, kind of moving into this. What's the importance of having a good database?
A good database.
Yeah.
It's important just because those are going to be feeding you leads each year. There's going to be a repeat business. And your good database also needs to be nurtured as well. You can't just throw in a contact and never call them and hope that they call you. But I think it's important to anybody that you work with. I mean, even your friends and family should be in your database, past clients. I mean, man, even if you have a conversation with somebody at a grocery store or something that have talked about real estate, it's always a good idea. Because if you call them at least once a quarter, even, once every 6 months, they're going to start to feed you business. Next thing you know, you don't even have to work. They're just calling you.
Well, that's the thing, right? I think sometimes people look at database like it's a phone book. It's not a phone book. I remember one time I had a top agent tell me you should be feeding your database leads or contacts like it's a living, breathing creature that depends on it for survival, because that is really your business. But you wouldn't, you have to nurture it and care for it. So, Dawn, why don't you guys, I know you guys are really good at working your database. So can you tell us what do you do and what does that plan look like?
Sure. So every year we come up with a plan for how we're going to stay in relationship with our database. It's really important to do that because our database is a predictable part of our business. You can go to a lot of open houses. You can't guarantee, you can advertise it, but you can't guarantee people are going to show up. But our database is predictable. So we come up with a plan each year. One of the things we learned when we came to KW was about having a 36 touch plan. So touching the people in our database 36 times over the course of 1 year. And so that we come up with that plan, and it's a mix of phone calls, emails, mailings, sometimes just a text. And it's just a way to stay in relationship and be predictable about it so that you're not forgetting about people. And it's, and really we become friends with our clients, and a lot of people in our database are our friends and family. So it's natural, but it's just making sure that you're staying top of mind, and staying relevant in a genuine way, because that's really important to us, not to, to have a good relationship with people. Why 36? There's some stats behind that. I don't remember. There's a book. So
Isn't it for every 100 people?
So the statistic is, so people in your database, if you stay in touch with them consistently over the course of a year, I think originally it was 32.
32, yeah.
But we shoot for 36. So for every 12 people in your database, you can expect 2 pieces of business. So one will be a direct piece of business and one will be a referral. So that's how it becomes predictable, is that for every 12, you can expect 2 if you're staying in touch. And there's been research there. Gary Keller wrote a book, and it's very data-based. And so that was one of the things that they found, was if you stay in touch consistently, that is how you stay top of mind.
So Nada asked why 36. So that just is, I think, over time, the book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, is built all off of data and past history of top performing agents. And that is what they found was the number that was kind of the one that worked that work successfully. So Shelley's holding up the book there. I mean, no matter if you're with Keller Williams or not, this is a book that every agent should read. Honestly, that book is what makes your business predictable. Working the systems and the models that are in that book is what makes your business predictable, and will help you achieve the goals that you set for yourself. So we don't have it at our office to purchase, but you can easily get it right on Amazon. So
Yeah, that's this right now.
Did that just change, Tina? Because I thought we had it in an actual filing cabinet with a bunch of books in there that you could come in and they would just bill it to you that month.
oh,
For agents, yes.
For
So for shipping, yes.
for agents.
Yep.
So, okay. So anybody else who's consistently working their database right now?
Yeah. Every day. Because I think when I first hopped on, sorry for being late, but I know you're talking about like the systems and models. Our KW Command, actually, you could set them up on that 36 touch, and it literally tells you what to do that day.
Yeah.
Like it says like call them or shoot them a text or write a postcard. So it's like idiot proof for like myself, because
That's actually a good point, because every day that you open up your command, there is a task portion of it that is literally a list of daily activities. So like Jeff said, for the busy real estate agent, that it tells you like today you need to call such and such in your database because it's at their part of the 36 touch campaign where you need to call them or you need to text them. So he's absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was one of the things that I found just astonishing when I got into this program, because at the last firm that I was at, which again was an international based company, I helped lead a training by a nationwide real estate trainer, one of the top in the industry. And so we were using his program, but in order to use his CRM, his database manager, and he had kind of a mobile app that would tell you what you would need to do, or who you might call in a day. You had to pay at least $250 a month, and I'm not talking $2.50, $250 a month in order to have this program. And so coming over here, I have seen every single day when I log into my system, I'm learning something new. And so as a new real estate licensee, you will learn something new every single day. But for me, coming into the system and learning, oh my gosh, I can do this. Whoa, wait, it's telling me to do this. I set up those birthday plans and it was telling me, okay, like 3 days before their birthday, you're going to mail them a card. Then then there's a wait period. And then on their birthday, you're going to send them a social media. You could, if they're not on Facebook, you could send them a personal text message, just again, reiterating that, you're thinking about them. So it is, like he said, it's idiot proof, because it's going to tell you, here's the steps. You can choose to put someone on a quarterly call plan. And so as Tina mentioned, when you open up your command center for the day, it's going to tell you, here's 3 people that you need to call. And then maybe tomorrow there's nothing that you have to do. And then the next day it'll say, write, 2 personal notes, and here's the people to write them to. So it's really, these are things that we've all tried to do in the past, and maybe we've fallen off the wagon because, we're trying to write it ourselves and we're trying to do this. But now to have one system where everything is very easily at your fingertips, it's right there. It is like having an assistant.
Yeah. Okay, Amy, if you could give one piece of advice to everyone on this call, what would it be?
I would say that anyone who's really interested in real estate and wanting to get started, start now. Start reaching out to people like, your friends, your family, letting them know that you're interested in going into real estate, you're going to start real estate, and start working on that database. Start working on it now. Looking for, phone numbers, emails, making sure you've got all that stuff together. That's going to just put you like a little bit more ahead of the game when you do start, because you're going to have that all like ready to go. So I would say definitely that. And I think as just when you start real estate, just be yourself. I know we've mentioned it on the call, like, you know, continue to go to, you know, different community things that you are, you know, you believe in, that you are, you know, a big proponent of. Continue to do your clubs, your organizations, you know, continue to go to the gym, do all that stuff, because that's where you get your leads. You know, those are your contacts. Those are the people that you know, you reach out to on a regular basis. And, you know, just continue to do those things, because that's networking, that's, you know, lead generating in a sense. So it's like, just be yourself. That's what I would tell them.
Sure.
That's really great advice, because I used to not talk about real estate really. Like, I was an admin. I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. So, but the thing is nobody in real estate knows all the answers. You just have to educate yourself and be willing to say, you know what, I'm not really sure, but why don't I get your name and number and your email address and I'll get back to you. And now it's like we get leads from people that we work out with. We get leads from people that are in a nonprofit we're involved in. And it's because we're around it and they know and we talk about it. But if you don't talk about it, they're just going to go to someone else, that person that mails them a postcard. Their mother's lady that cuts her hair does it on the side. So you have to just let them know, or else they don't know, and they won't even feel bad about it. And you'll be like, oh, really? Really? You were in my wedding and you did not. You was not? Are you kidding me? Okay. Little drop. It's okay. I'm fine. Let it go.
You're not holding on to that at all, are you, Shelley?
Oh.
Well, be prepared for that, because it'll happen to you, right? I mean, just recently we were doing Popeyes by a client just to stop by and get in touch with them. And we pulled up and there was this sign in the yard and it wasn't ours. I'll take this back to my car. I mean,
I'm driving.
but you know what though? It's not their fault. It's my fault, because we didn't do a good job of staying in touch with that client. Like I said, I had a training class today of new agents. It's like the Bed Bath & Beyond coupon, right? It shows up every single month in your mailbox. You probably only use it once or twice a year, but you know, when you go to Bed Bath & Beyond and you don't have it, you're upset, you're calling your neighbors, like, so you gotta be there. You have to show up when they need you. They're not gonna need you,
Most
you know,
of the
90% of the time, but you gotta be there. And so that's part of that 36 touch times, right? You're contacting them 36 times. That's part of that. So, okay. So, Jeff, what do you think is one piece of advice that you would give to somebody thinking about getting into real estate?
I mean, really, Amy kind of hit it on the head. Getting in touch with your friends and family. When you do first start, that should be your very first thing that you do. And then do as many open houses as you can during the weekend. Those are like free leads. So you don't even have to spend money to find leads. I think being, you know, persistent, sometimes it doesn't happen all the time. I mean, in all honesty, I've been doing this for, this is 9 years. My first year, I sold one house. Terrible. Yeah. That was back in 2011. So it's not going to be like that now. I mean, you could walk outside and like get hit with a deal, cause it's a crazy market. But if you really try and make the contacts, you're going to get outside of your comfort zone. It's going to happen regardless. And then script practice, even like script practicing what you're going to say at your open house, or even before you call your friend. I know it sounds weird when they ask you a question and you don't know what to say. I'd rather script practice instead of look like an idiot. So I would say script practice, call your friends and family, do open houses. Those are all free things to get you a deal, even in your first month. You could do it.
Okay, so let's talk attrition rate. Why do we think why do we think the data shows that 85% of the agents get out of the business in the first 18 months? 85%. Can you believe that? There's 17 of us on the call today. And if you all were to get your license, that would mean 87 or 85% of you are going to be out doing something else in 18 months. So Dawn, Jeff, why do you think that is?
If you're not lead genning, that's my guess.
Okay. Dawn?
I would say I think a lot of people don't go to something like this before they decide to get their real estate license, and they maybe think it's going to be like HGTV, or it is like just getting a job, and they don't necessarily realize what they're getting into, and that it is running a small business, and that you are responsible for finding your own clients. You know, you need to know what you need to understand contracts and know what you're doing, and be able to follow up and be persistent and consistent. I think a lot of people don't realize that before they start in real estate.
Stephanie?
I would say two things. One, when you finish your WRA pre-licensing and you take your test and you have your license, that gives you contractual knowledge, but it doesn't give you hands-on practical experience. So you're like, okay, how do I schedule a showing? How do I open up a lockbox? You know, what do I do? Do I open the door and then do I just stand there and let the people go through the house themselves? So I think it's, you know, lack of knowledge up front of what the job is, and, you know, not really realizing that it's not just taking your license exam and going, woohoo, I'm selling real estate, but it's, you need to pair yourself with a mentor who can help guide and train you through the process. You need to be shadowing other people through, you know, a buyer consultation, a listing presentation, a home inspection. That's key. You know, getting together with loan officers, just connecting yourself with all the people, understanding title. So it's really like there's a lot of on-the-job training, and a lot of times you see people just go and they're like, okay, well, I don't need to go to any of those things. I don't need to participate. But, you know, like Dawn said, coming to something like this where you can get some tips and really understand what a company offers, you know, you'll think that you're going to get leads from your company, and that's just really not how the industry works. If you're getting leads from a company, it's because you're sitting working at a front desk for someone as a secretary, and you have an assigned time slot of 4 hours 2 or 3 times a week that you have to sit and answer calls. You're not in this job to be a free secretary for someone else. So your time is much better spent following someone else around and getting practical knowledge of the job that you're going to do. I think the second thing is, you know, just understanding that this is a commissioned business. So if someone has not worked on commission before, just understanding like you don't get paid to drive around in your car and open doors and show houses. You get paid for once that deal has closed. So you need to connect with people. So working your database is going to help you connect with people that are going to be actual real live buyers and sellers for you. But if you're not doing those actions, you're not getting a closing and you're not getting a paycheck. So it's not consistent. You know, every other Friday I'm getting a paycheck. You know, it's how much time and energy do you have to invest and devote to building a business, and are you willing to take you know, advice and follow you know, an experienced person through, you know, the process.
Right. They say real estate is simple, but it's not easy. And that is, I think it's consistency is what gets us to where we need to be. So let's talk COVID. Amy, how is COVID affecting our real estate market? And nice. And what are you doing differently? Like, tell us a little bit about your business. Let's just talk a little, we'll take a couple minutes to talk COVID.
Sure. So I think for us, you know, we had a lot of things that we did for lead generating that was a lot of more face-to-face networking. So I think, you know, that was something that we had to kind of pivot and shift and, change a little bit of our plan there for this year, in that, you weren't going to a lot of like your networking events. You weren't going to a lot of the clubs and stuff like that you normally participate in. So, something that we had to change is just doing more things, either doing out mailers or doing social media, doing, Facebook ads, things like that. That kind of changed our business a little bit. So those are some of the things that have changed for us, I guess, with COVID.
Okay. Dawn, what about you guys?
A lot of our plan this year was based around getting together with people in person, open houses, networking events. We do past client events as well as one of our touches throughout the year. And so it was just shifting that plan and just being ready to continue our business. We started doing virtual buyer consultations, so working with people over Zoom. We did a couple of virtual seller consultations as well, making sure that people are, the market is a little bit different because of COVID, and sellers are a little bit more wary about having people in their homes. So it's just making sure that everybody understands, how are we keeping our clients safe? How are we keeping the sellers safe when we're going into their home? Everyone's wearing a mask. Don't touch things when you go in. We're not having overlapping showings. So things to keep people safe. I would say, this is, for us personally, this is our best year in business so far, so it hasn't negatively impacted our business. It's just been something that we keep in mind as we go.
Okay, so let's just open it up the last couple minutes here. If we want to open it up for some Q&A from people watching, do you guys have any questions for either all of the agents in general or specific agent? You can go ahead and type them in the chat, or just go ahead and unmute yourself.
I'm actually intrigued to learn about the husband-wife teams, and how did that come about, and how did you decide to make, that's a huge jump, assuming that one spouse or the other was the insurance holder, and all of those different things that you weigh out. If someone can talk about that a little bit, I'm just curious.
I'll go, since I haven't talked for a little bit. Okay, so previously I held the insurance. I had a salary position, and when we were at a position where, like, I was working retail, and so my hours are really demanding, and my husband's hours are really demanding. He was starting to really, like, hit a point where he couldn't do any more business without, like, some leverage, because you're kind of running all over when you get to a certain point. Like, if you don't have really good systems, which, hello, we didn't, it's just running around just trying to do all the things. It was really hard. So we decided that I would leave my job, and then I would be his administrative assistant. So I would provide to him the leverage of taking care of, contract to close, pretty much a lot of the transaction management. So when I say that, I also just want to say, like, when, a lot of people, they get an accepted offer, they're like, oh yeah, we sold our house, we got an accepted offer. And it's like, whoa, we still have like 30 to 45 days of grueling, potential for things to be torn apart, and you have to be on top of it, and you got to be communicating, and it's just a lot of moving pieces, and things get dropped if you're not watching everything. So long story short, I joined him, and we just stay in our lanes. So that's the most important thing I would say, is to stay in your lane. Because the minute, like, we start doing the same things, like, we butt heads. And then it gets personal, because, hello, you live with that person. So if you just keep it, this is my role, this is your role, that's how we were able to succeed. But I don't know, Dawn, Amy, anything to add?
We both are agents. So my husband and I both sell. So we do have a lot of overlap. It was about a year for us probably to both figure out what our individual roles were, and how that, you keep work and personal separate at the same time. So it's been a journey. We've got it pretty good set now. But we had to really think about, like, you asked about like insurance and finances. We had to make sure I started in the business and we were at a point where we had enough saved that it was okay for us to lose the security of that every other week paycheck that he was bringing home. And then of course we did lose the insurance as well. So we use the marketplace personally now for insurance. So just planning for that.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
And I would just add one thing about insurance is it's shocking, like at first, if you would go into that kind of scenario when you don't have insurance that's provided in part by, you know, an employer, but most of the time, honestly, they're not even paying your full thing. Like they're paying a portion of it and you're getting a reduced amount. So I would just say that because like initially I was like, oh my God, $1,400 a month? Like that is insane. But it's like, well, before I was paying $800, like, so it's, I mean, it's definitely more, but like a lot of times employers are not paying your entire insurance. They're just getting you a better policy. So I
Yeah,
would,
great point.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, then I guess I have some specific questions for you guys. So like Jeff and John and Stephanie, you guys have all worked in another brokerage. So can you talk about the differences between brokerages and maybe what licensees should consider when they're exploring different brokerages and what that looks like? We'll start with you, Jeff.
So I switched over about 4 years ago. I think the major differences is, I mean, commission split is good. We actually just went from 70-30 to 80-20 in this office, and the last office I was at was 50-50 split. So that is nice. And then here I have an opportunity to cap, which is basically I only pay Keller Williams up to a certain dollar amount, and then my commission is free. So I think I pay, or my team, or Joe, I have a business partner. So Joe and I pay Keller Williams $32,000 a year. Okay. After that, however long that takes, I then get 100% of that commission. So out of 20%, Keller Williams gets that money up to $32,000 and it's free, or 100%. And I think the biggest thing, especially if you are just starting, is the training is spectacular. I actually think Keller Williams was known for training, not just in real estate, but in a whole pool of different types of companies. Keller Williams was named one of the biggest training companies. Am I right, Tina? Right? Is that correct? Okay. It's just an incredible program. So I would say between those two things, that's why I switched.
John?
So similar reasons to Jeff. I also came from the same company. There was a point I looked at how much my seller was paying for commission and how much I was getting, and it made my heart hurt a little bit. But beyond that, culture is a big thing at Keller Williams. It is a different mindset where there's more of a partnership between agents and the office as a whole. It's not that somebody above you is making decisions and telling us how the office is going to be run. It's that the agents ourselves, we have an associate leadership council where agents are part of that, making decisions for the whole office. So things get voted on by agents, people who are actually working there, policy changes. So we're taking an active part in running the brokerage decision-wise. And I think that makes a huge difference.
Okay. So you came from a different brokerage. What's your perspective?
Yeah. So I think some of the things that, Jeff and Dawn have said, I definitely second. I think mindset is phenomenal. I was at a company that also prided itself in the culture, but culture is what you choose to participate in, and you know, what you want to involve yourself in too. But you know, that was like, oh, there's one sales meeting a month, you know, okay, and we'll do some training. And I think the culture wasn't what they had set it out to be. What happens at KW is there's so many things that you can plug into. I have this calendar, which you can see is kind of highlighted and circled, but there's different things, you know, like Tuesday through, well, actually Monday through Friday. I was gonna say like Tuesday through Thursday, there's different things, but at 9 o'clock in the morning, you can get on a phone call or on a Zoom like this, and you can have people say, hey, tell me something good, you know, tell me something positive that happened. So it's a way to start out your day in a positive mindset. So it's like the morning mojo. You know, they offer that in the afternoons as well if it's not a good time for you in the morning. But there's so many different trainings, whether you're new, whether you're, you know, a veteran real estate professional. And so it's just like the support that's there. I mean, it's actually, you know, even though we're independent contractors, we're self-employed. I was telling Tina earlier today, I just feel like it's the first time that I've ever felt part of an actual company or like an officially run business with proven strategies, systems, tools. And it's really, someone earlier had said like rip off and repeat. So, you know, where Shelly was talking about, you know, she was trying to make up stuff and trying to create all these things. And, you know, I was saying I fell off the wagon and I wasn't calling people, I wasn't sending personal notes. And now the system is going to keep me accountable. But I can also go to different mastermind groups. So there's different things, depending on what you feel like you want to plug into, you can get as connected as you want to. And then kind of going back to some of the commission stuff that Jeff was talking about, I think that cap number sounds really like massive and really overwhelming. Like, what? I'm not going to pay somebody 30 grand. You know, and it's pay as you go. So, you know, if you're selling $2 million worth of real estate, you know, so you take, say on average, you're selling houses at $150,000. And if you multiply that out and figure out how many houses do I get to sell in order to get to $2 million of real estate, you're paying, so if you get a commission check of say $3,000, you're going to pay 20% of that $3,000 goes to the company. At another company, it could be 50% of that $3,000 that goes to the company. And so you're not just handing over $30,000. If you're a $2 million producer, or if you're a $4 million producer, you're going to be paying 20% of whatever you're, you know, pulling in on your transactions. And so, you know, obviously, you know, Jeff's an experienced real estate professional, and he's over, you know, what was your number last year? Like, you know, over 7 million, I would estimate, you know, and so when you get producing these bigger numbers, you know, I mean, like I capped last year, so that's a term that we use, but, you know, it just depends on the number of transactions that you're doing. And so, yeah, when you're looking at how much of my money are they going to take? The other thing is a lot of companies will charge for training. So they say that they're this phenomenal training institution, but to go sit at a training, like Tina had a training today on how to write contracts, and other companies would have charged $295 for you to go sit on this 3-hour training class. It's like, why? That's what the company should be providing for you, because they want to elevate your business.
Oh, perfect. So actually, this isn't on the panel and you guys don't have to answer, but I'd love to just hear, like, if you guys want to say what you sold last year in business.
Hey, real quick before we do that, Tina, I just want to pop in because we were at another brokerage too. And so I just want to add my 2 cents because it was a big difference. So we came to Keller Williams, you know, if I may be blunt, it was probably mostly commission splits. We thought, we were like, oh no, our office is great. Everyone's really nice. Like, you know, But the thing is no one was rooting for us. And I didn't really understand that until we were here at Keller Williams for a while. So like, I don't know, there's just a difference between people showing you their book of business. Literally, I remember the first training I was at, and I think it was a 36 touch training. And the person teaching it literally opened up and showed us like not only their entire marketing plan, but then just casually scrolling through the clients that they had. And it's like, like, of course I wouldn't steal it, but like where I was before, that would never happen. Like their info was, here's basically how you can do it, but I'm not going to actually tell you the specifics because I'm directly competing with you, which is an interesting thing in real estate, that we are all competing, but yet we all have to cooperate with each other to get the deal closed. So when you're at brokerages, like, yeah, we sometimes go up against people in our own brokerage, but like, we're not like, I don't know. I just feel like it was
mindset of abundance, Shelley, right?
Yeah.
Mindset of abundance. There's enough business out there for everybody. We can all be awesome.
Yeah.
Exactly. I thought that was just something important to share because it was something I didn't understand and didn't think that I needed. And in culture, we've got culture, it's fine. But it wasn't. Like, now I'm like, oh my God, like they pretty much gave us a cake that said, hope you fail, you need us. And it's like, we don't.
Well, I mean, we really have a culture of abundance, even where we say, like Steph mentioned it before, like rip and repeat. Like, I mean, agents love marketing pieces and they'll say, hey, just use my marketing piece. Take my logo off of it, put your logo on it. Like, nobody cares. We just did buyer presentations for new buyers last week, or for new agents last week. I had top agents giving me their buyer presentation saying, doesn't matter, just take it, let them use it, let them take a look at it. I mean, really, like we said earlier, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like at this company, we're all in it together trying to achieve the same goals. So, okay, Amy, so you're the newest agent on the panel. What steps did you take to make the leap of faith and quit your job and get into real estate? And how much planning went into your decision? What did that look like?
Yeah, so I had kind of always had an interest in real estate, but as I mentioned earlier, my husband being in the military, we actually moved around like every 2 to 3 years, and so I didn't feel like it was a great time to do that as we were moving around in the military. So when we moved here to Wisconsin, he did retire, and so it allowed me at this point, I was working at a company that had been there for probably a little. I was ready to kind of move on. I'd been there 6-7 years, and so I was ready to kind of make a change and do something different. And we had kind of talked about it because, again, like with our military background, I really kind of wanted to do it together as a team and help people together as a team. And so Brian and I just kind of started talking about it, and literally like within a few months, we just we ordered the exam and started studying for it. So I jumped first before he did, and then he followed me. He worked with me part-time and then followed me probably about 6 months later. So, and here we are.
And here you are. So we're just going to do a quick rapid fire. We're going to wrap it up for the agents on the panel at 6:45 real quick. But so is it possible to do real estate part-time?
Loaded question.
It's so funny. I see like sign, I see people saying yes. So let's talk about it. I mean, is it like, what's your thought process?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends. I think it depends on what your goals are and what kind of business you want to have and what your other part-time is. Is your other part-time flexible? Can you take calls during the day? Can you set your own hours there? Or is it something that you're at work, you can't look at your phone, like, and you're not answering phone? So I think it depends.
Okay.
Yeah, home inspections happen, either like 9 to noon or 3 to 6. So if you were tied to a desk until 5, it would be difficult to attend your client's home inspections. And that's not a mandatory thing, but I like to just be there to hear straight from the horse's mouth, if you will, straight from the inspector, what's the problem? How big of a deal is it? I also like to, be there to chat with the buyers about, this is not a time to ask for every single thing on the inspection. It's, a time to look for what are the major problems or safety issues. And so if you're not there, can a home inspector that you're not familiar with kind of, derail your transaction? Closings happen between 8 and 5. So, are you going to attend your client's closing, bring a closing gift, be a happy smiling face for them? So there's a lot of things that happen. If there's a problem with a loan, you may need to be problem solving and be on your phone. So yeah, I mean, if you're not able to access a phone, it could be difficult. If you have another job that you're working at from home and you can take any calls that you want, I think it's totally feasible to be doing both. And buyers like to go out in the evenings and on weekends. So if that's when you're available for shopping, I mean, it's good. But for all of the kind of more problem solving or administrative type things, it might not be convenient.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to add about that?
Yeah, I'll add, I think there's successful agents out there that do it. I don't know how they do it, especially in this market, because, it's just seller's market. And, when someone wants to go see a house, you pretty much have to drop everything and show them that house. Otherwise you're going to lose it. So I don't know how they do it. If they are doing it, it's pretty crazy, but you have to have some level of flexibility in order to make it work. That's for sure.
Awesome. Okay, so I just want our people who are on this call today to know what caliber of agents that we talked to today. So if you guys don't mind, if you're comfortable with it, sharing with us what you did last year in business. So Jeff?
Last year I did just shy of 9 million in production. This year we're closed at 10 million right now. And then we've got a few deals in the pipeline that is pending. So we're about 13 million right now.
Nice.
Nice. Dawn?
Last year we ended the year just over 6 million in production. This year we're on track to do 8.5, 9.
Awesome. Nice. That's excellent. I mean, COVID, right? I mean, think about that. Think about for a period of time, we really had a lot of uncertainty. So Sosa?
Last year was 9.6.
Okay.
Should be on track for about the same.
Awesome. Amy?
0 for me. I started in September and I didn't have any closings last year. So.
Okay. And where are you guys at this year now?
We're doing pretty good. I would say we're this year we're going to probably be 10 families that we've helped. That's probably 10 to 15 is our goal. So
that's awesome. Awesome. And Shelly, what about your team?
So last year, I think we did around 12 million, about 43 transactions. That's the number that sticks in my head. And then this year so far, we have 52 closed. And if we add on what we have booked, we have 67. So we're shooting for 83, another weird odd number.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, any other questions before we let our panel of agents go? Okay, well, thank you so much. If the panel, you guys can go and enjoy the rest of your evening. I really appreciate you being on with us today. And if the rest of you want to stand and learn of what it takes to get into real estate and what we do at Keller Williams to help you and some of the expectations we have prior to you starting, we can go over that.
Hey, Tina, just real quick.
Yeah.
I know there's a question from Chloe, if you don't mind answering that.
Oh,
for when you kind of transition into that portion.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Oh, Chloe. Okay. So what exactly is the role of the administrative side versus being an agent? So the administrative section, really, that's kind of Shelly, where Shelly's at. Do you want to, I see you hung around. Do you want to stay on?
Yeah, I was going to email Chloe separately after the call if we didn't talk about it.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I could cover it right now.
Sure.
So admin side, so a typical admin, it's pretty much supporting the agent. So when you get some deals in the pipeline, then it's about like, once you get an accepted offer, communicating between the different title companies, because it's not just your buyer that you're working with, it's your buyer, the lender, the lender's title company, the listing agent, the listing agent's title company. So, you know, one of the nice things about being an admin is I actually learn kind of from the bottom up, because I'm doing I'm doing a lot of the technical work, behind the scenes work. And so I have a really good understanding on how the transaction works without even being a real estate agent. So it's a little safer because you're getting paid like a normal wage. Sorry, I need to eat dinner. I'm getting a little chatty. Get a little non-cohesive here. But point I'm trying to say is it's a nice way to learn about the business without actually going into a full-on commission role, because there is a learning curve in real estate. It's like a 3-month learning, curve to just understand it all and to understand the intricacies, I think. So it might be a good option for someone who's detail-oriented and maybe a little bit scared about just jumping in sales.
Yeah, it's transaction management. It's getting, we say that getting the accepted offer is really the easy part, right? It's getting it from that accepted offer stage and all the way to the closing table, because there's so many moving parts that are happening on a just constant. I mean, I literally got a text sitting here about a home inspection that just went wrong. So of course, now I'm going to have to negotiate this, but we eat the apple one bite at a time, right? So we do the offer, then we get to the inspection, and 9 times out of 10, if it's going to die during that inspection phase. So, but the transaction coordinator or the admin is the one who's really helping with the paperwork side of the transaction, making sure they're keeping track of all the deadlines and all the dates that are associated with it, and helping to really run a lot of the agent's real estate business. So I know that's probably not super specific, but I mean, we could go.
It could be a whole
other Zoom call. Yep.
It's like listing management, marketing, transaction management, executive assistant work. Those are all just
half. Yeah.
But as you begin your real estate career, you are your agent and you are, the transaction manager or administrative piece. We have errors and omissions insurance. And so for compliance, we have to submit our files because, we hang our license at the office. So the office is overseeing us and responsible for everything that we're doing. So we have a compliance manager who reviews all of our files prior to us going to closing. Because if there's something missing or if there's something that we need to change, they can tell you, okay, you need to do this amendment. It's not as easy to chase down a seller after they move to Florida for you to get a signature on something because you missed, changing a deadline or something, so that your contract is tight. So you basically are your own admin until you get to a production point where you can afford to add on someone like Shelly.
We do have a transaction coordinator at Keller Williams that you can hire per transaction as well. So if that's something that, maybe for some people, paperwork, deadlines, dates are not their thing, you can certainly hire the transaction coordinator. It's $295 per transaction. And we have a lot of agents that take advantage of it here because their time is better well spent on the phone, lead genning, doing whatever, or it's just not their strong suit. So let's go a little bit into what it takes to to start in real estate. I'm going to just start from the back end and then go forward. So you need to start by ordering a pre-licensing exam work. So the pre-licensing exam is 14 chapters. It's a combination of book work and online videos and quizzes. So there are chapter quizzes at the end of each chapter. You have to pass those with an 80% or more, and then it'll take you to the next section. At the very end, after the 14 chapters, there is a mock exam that you take. You have to pass that mock exam as well in order to print your certificate for you to go take the real exam. You then would schedule a time, and I can send this out. If everybody sends me an email, if they need me to reiterate this, I'll send you out. So my email is just tinareddick@kw. Send me an email and tell me you need pre-licensing information, and I will get it out to you. So you would schedule an exam through the Pearson VUE Testing Center, and you would go there and you would take the real estate exam. So the real estate exam, they give you 4 hours to take it. It's about 150 to 175 questions. And it's a pretty intense process. They will pat you down before you get in there. You can't take anything in there. You have to lock all your stuff up in a locker. They give you you can't have any papers. They'll give you a whiteboard and a marker. You will have access to the contracts online, but not on demand. So you won't be able to always look at them, but during certain questions, you will have access to them. So don't feel like you have to remember line number by line number, because you don't. So now you've passed your real estate exam, you have the certificate. Guess what? You're still not a realtor, unfortunately. You just now can apply for your real estate license. You would then choose a brokerage. If you chose Keller Williams, you'd come here, you would onboard, it's called, and that's where you would apply for your real estate license, which would cost $85. And you would also pay your GMAR board dues. So every agent, in order to become a realtor in the state of Wisconsin, needs to belong to a variety of different boards, one of them being the Greater Milwaukee Area of Realtors, the Wisconsin Realtors Association, and the National Association of Realtors. So the dues on a yearly basis run about $800 to $900. So when you first start with, they are a little bit more expensive on the front end because you pay application fees to them. So I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm going to show you what it looks like. And give me 1 second just to share my screen. So, host disabled attendant. Oh, I guess I cannot. It's not allowing me to. Okay, so for instance, I'll just read them to you then. Any agent who started in August would pay $734 for their GMAR board dues. And that would cover them from August until December 14th of 2020. And then they would then need to pay whatever their board dues, which I think we just got, and they are $895. And that covers you for all of 2021. So it's a fairly large investment when you first start. So it's important that we let people know that this isn't something that you should get into part-time because you're investing a ton of money up front. So anybody who would start after October, you're going to pay for this year and next year. So anybody starting in October right now is going to pay $1,413. It's going to cover them for the rest of 2020 and then all of 2021. Okay, so that's the board dues. Then you would go into our launch program. So our launch program is designed for newly licensed agents, and it's a combination of contractual training and business training. That Steph mentioned it earlier today. that when you are getting your license and you're taking that coursework, they're not telling you anything about how to run a business. That's where we're going to help you. So it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it is mandatory the first month you start. So it is a non-negotiable. So that, again, is sometimes hard for people who have dual careers, but it's just like any other job that you would start. There's definitely going to be an orientation period, and this is ours. So the Tuesday section it's all about the business side of it. Today, we had to adjust, but today was our Tuesday class, even though it's Monday, and it was all writing offers. We also have group coaching on Mondays at 3 o'clock. So after we wrote offers for 2 hours, we got on group coaching. We talked with other agents that are also in the launch program about what challenges they're facing right now, what wins they're having, how are they getting into business, things like that. What does their production look like? And on Thursdays, we have the contractual training where it's really going in piece by piece with you on those contracts so that you know why we write what we write on there. We know how to keep your client safe, keep the brokerage safe, keep you when you're writing contracts. You are in the launch program for your first 5 transactions. When you're in the launch program, you will have a business coach who will be coaching you and holding accountability. So for instance, accountability today that came out of group coaching was they needed to make sure that they had people in their database with all the information. So it was 25 people in their database that they needed to add 25 people to their database with name, email, address, phone number, date of birth. They needed to schedule 1 meeting to meet a lender in person to have a conversation around the lending, because it's another piece. You're going to be a resource for your buyer. They're going to ask you, who do I call for lending? You're going to need to have an answer to that. And then they also needed to attend 1 open house as a buyer. Just go in there and pretend they were a buyer so that they could see how other agents are holding open houses. So we'll go ahead and we'll revisit that next Monday. So along with the business coach, you're also going to be assigned a mentor in the field, which is an agent that you will shadow on open houses. You'll shadow on home inspections, closings, buyer presentations, listing presentations. They're also going to be your go-to person. So for instance, I have a mentor. She texted me while we were on this call. She's showing a property and she could not get the lockbox to open. So I was trying to help troubleshoot her during our call here today. But you will always have a go-to person that will be able to help you and assist you. They will review your first 5 contracts as well before they go out the door to make sure that you have crossed your T's, dotted your I's. And they'll even help advise you to help advise your client in a really competitive market. You know, okay, well, why are you writing this? Let's talk about how we can strengthen this offer. So they're your go-to person. So like I said, you are in that program for the first 5 transactions. Once you are done with that program, you graduate from that program, and then you're just like any other agent at Keller Williams. Even when you're in the program, you can plug into any of the trainings that we have. We just have that mandatory first month, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And it's not all day. Tuesdays are from like 1 to 4, and then Thursdays are from 10 to noon. There may be some adjustments to those right now, so just so you're aware. So that's kind of it in a nutshell in terms of how we support our new agents. The Tuesdays, just so you know, too, are workshops. So you're actually doing stuff. So you're not having somebody talk at you for hours. You're actually coming out with stuff, intangible things that you can go and get into production. Our goal is to get you into production your first 90 days that you're here, because we know that you've done a lot of legwork and you've spent a lot of money to get your real estate license, and we want to do everything that we can to get that money back. So any questions about that? All right, let's just talk expectations. So in order for an agent to get to be able to onboard at Keller Williams, you and I have to talk and have a conversation first. We do an interview. And then we have a 7-step guide to a 7-step success plan, basically, in order to get an onboarding appointment. So I'll send this to you in an email, but you have to have a minimum of 50 people in a database. That's name, first name, last name, email, their home address, phone number, as much information, date of birth. If you can get their birth date, that's huge, because you can add that in your 36 touch plan.
On
So
Facebook. Everybody's birthday's on there.
yeah, go on Facebook, exactly. There's 2 podcasts that you need to listen to by Gary Keller, his Think Like a CEO podcasts. One is the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, and the other one is actually, I think it's called Think Like a CEO. You need to have some kind of headshot. I need to see it. Don't send me a headshot of you and your buddies at the Brewer game. That's not professional. Don't send me a headshot of you at the beach. Not gonna work. You wouldn't believe how many of the craziest headshots I get sent to me. Don't send those to me. You need to attend 4 open houses on your own, and you need to collect business cards from the agents that are at those open houses. You need to purchase the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. Start reading that. That's where a lot of our teachings are going to come from. A lot of our masterminding comes out of that. There's a lot of real estate. I mean, it's all real estate related. It's about who doesn't want to be a millionaire real estate agent? So that's a part of it. There's a Google form you'll have to fill out. And I think I'm trying to pull up my thing here. One more thing. So any questions regarding that? Those would be the items that you would need to do in order to get, nope, I think we went through them all. Oh, the last one, the most important one. Sorry, there's one more. You need to attend 7 of our Market Center trainings. All of our trainings are done via Zoom, just like this. We have trainings 5 days a week. Every morning at 9 a.m., we have script practice and role play. You can attend those. There's 5 right there. And there's definitely 2 other things, that a team meeting you could come to, a mastermind. Today we had group coaching. There are definitely things that you can plug into, but you need to we want you to immerse yourself in the culture before you make the decision to become a real estate agent and before you pay for those GMAR dues, because sometimes people get into it and they start getting into trainings and they're like, whoa, this is not what I thought it was going to be. This is not interior design. This is not HGTV. This is real estate. And it's way different than when it looks on TV. So our goal, like I said, is to set you up for success. And so we want to make sure, and we're fully committed to that process, but we need to make sure our agents are just as committed. So in order to onboard with us, you would complete those 7 steps, and then you would have the onboard appointment, and then we could get you into our launch program right away. All right. Any questions? No?
Yeah, I had a quick question.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed this portion, but when you were speaking about the pre-license education, is that something that Keller Williams does offer, or would we take that through another third party?
So we don't have a class here. Most people take it through the WRA. So you can order it through us, and I have the form here. Ordering it through us does save you $100. It's a combination of on-demand classes. It's self-paced study. You can get a book sent to you for an extra $30, or you can just do the PDF copy online. I think most people actually have the book sent to them. There are some, like it's a Robbins and Lloyd, that you can actually go and take it in person. and you can just Google them and Robbins and Lloyd Real Estate School if you choose to do that. I just find most people just do it online. Like I said, we do get the discount. Just because you order it through us does not mean you have to sign at our brokerage, because it does not. We get a discount because we order so many.
Mm-hmm. I like the WRA model because it's Wisconsin, Realtor Association attorneys who are teaching the classes. And so there's a variety of individuals that you'll see throughout. It's not the same person. They usually have some life and energy. They're not monotone. But, if you are currently working another job, or have commitments at, certain hours of the day, you can, be sitting on your sofa watching, on your laptop or iPad at 10 o'clock at night, if that's when it's best for you. Or if you want to watch at 6 a.m., you can watch then. So they're really good. If they said something that you were like, whoa, what was that? You can rewind, go back and hear it again. And they've got really great notes. Like Tina was saying, they've got the book on PDF. So kind of like how, if you set up your Zoom in a different way, like right now I have the chat going down the right side, but you can have the book kind of up and open, and then you can minimize the speaker because you don't need to really just see them. You want to be looking at the book. They've got notes already kind of typed out and stuff in their format. So the on-demand is great.
Nana, you're going through it right now, right? Sorry, not to put you on the spot.
Sorry, I was on mute. I actually just really dove into it today. It's a good format, really good format. So, I haven't gotten my book yet. It's coming Wednesday. That's what FedEx told me. It putzed a little bit based on what you and I talked about, Tina, but that's fine. So there are a couple of PDF documents that you can download. So you should really read through that introduction section. They lay it out, all the tools very clearly. You can download the PDF, save it onto a file, and then it's a huge document. The notes document is like over 400 pages, or it was something crazy. But I'm printing them as I need them, and you can use their guided notes basically, like our kids are getting at times if you have high schoolers. And it just gives you another layer of organization for how to, it shows you what the slides are that's being presented by the speaker. But Stephanie, as you said, obviously you don't want to just rely on what that speaker is extrapolating from the text. You want to go back and look through the text as well. And I like to have a physical book, so I'll be highlighting things as well. So it's all there for everyone.
And it's 72 hours of training. So, you're going to do it at your pace. If you're currently not in a full-time situation, you can sit down and bang through this course in 2 weeks if you really want to. You're going to finish the class and take your licensing exam on your timetable.
Yeah, and you have 6 months to take the course. If you don't complete it within 6 months, you do have to reorder it, only because our contracts are constantly changing, and so they're updating the books to reflect the changes made in the contracts. So, all right.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, of course.
Sorry, if you were previously a realtor in a different state and you went through the courses, I don't know if you've ever heard of Hondros College.
No.
That was a real estate college in Ohio.
Okay.
Would I still have to go through the whole thing if I could show my transcripts or something?
Did your license expire in that state? Do you still have it?
No, this is going back almost 15 years.
Yeah, you would need to do it over, because like I had been licensed in Minneapolis, so in Minnesota, and there was reciprocity between the states. But like if I wanted to get my license in Florida, things are a lot different down there. And so I would have to do theirs, but like Minnesota to Wisconsin. But that was if I was transferring it like right now, and then tomorrow I'm going to be in the other state. There's something too where like you can have your license put on ice, like they hold it and you don't have to park it with a brokerage if you're just going to be off temporarily. But based on the time frame, you would want to definitely go through the whole process.
Yeah, of
Thank you. Thank you.
course. Okay. Anything else, guys? So you have my email. It's Tina Reddick, REDDICK @kw.com. So if you want some additional information, you want the order form for PLE, anything like that, go ahead, send me an email. Make sure to include your first name, last name, your phone number, your address, because I'm going to put you in my database.
Give her your birthday and she'll send you a birthday card or
Ask
text.
me your birthday and I'll send you a birthday card. All right, guys. Well, have an excellent night. And then I look forward to seeing from all of you guys in the future.
Thank you. This was great. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Yes, it was.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
Tina.
You're welcome. Have a great day, guys. Bye.